Settle into a comfortable position now. There is nothing you need to solve, nothing you need to prove. Just ideas drifting by, like clouds passing slowly across a dark sky. We explore how desire to please triggers cruelty in others. Nietzsche believed that submissive behavior and the persistent desire to please does not always create harmony. In fact, he argued the opposite, that excessive passivity can act as an invitation, an unspoken signal for aggression and cruelty to emerge in others. Not because people are evil, but because human beings are responsive to power. When strength encounters strength, there is respect. When strength encounters emptiness, it often fills the space. Nietzsche observed that when a person consistently retreats, apologizes for existing, or suppresses their instincts to avoid friction, they unknowingly invite the dominant energies around them to expand. And expansion, when unchecked, can become predatory. This is not always conscious. Often it is instinctual. A passive disposition does not repel cruelty. It attracts it. Nietzsche did not believe that civilization erased our instincts. He believed it buried them. Beneath polite smiles, beneath social rules, beneath moral language, the human drive for conquest still exists. Not always conquest of land, but of space, influence, and psychological territory. When someone radiates firmness, boundaries are felt. When someone radiates submission, boundaries dissolve. Nietzsche argued that dominance is not taught. It is restrained. And when restraint disappears in the presence of weakness, instinct rushes in. This is why excessive softness does not pacify the world. It reorganizes it. Strength moves forward. Weakness adapts or suffers. Repressed instincts and moral decadence. Nietzsche was deeply suspicious of kindness that came from fear. He believed that repressed instincts, when dressed up as virtue, become something unhealthy. A person who is kind because they are strong is different from a person who is kind because they are afraid to assert themselves. The second form, Nietzsche said, is not moral progress. It is moral decadence. When instincts like anger, ambition, desire, and self-assertion are denied expression, they do not vanish. They ferment. They turn inward and transform into resentment, self-loathing, and quiet suffering. The individual begins to punish themselves for wanting more. And in that punishment, they lose vitality. What looks like gentleness becomes exhaustion. What looks like humility becomes self-erasure. Nietzsche saw this as a slow violence, inflicted on the self, complaining as cowardly aggression. Nietzsche's critique of complaining was sharp, but precise. He did not deny suffering. He denied the virtue of habitual complaint. To him, chronic complaining was not innocence. It was aggression that lacked courage. Instead of confronting directly, instead of setting boundaries, instead of acting, the complainer leaks hostility sideways, through blame, through guilt, through moral pressure. Complaining becomes a way to wound others without taking responsibility for the wound. Nietzsche called this cowardly not as an insult, but as a diagnosis. The aggression exists, but it refuses to stand upright. And so it poisons relationships quietly, while leaving the complainer trapped in their own helplessness. Resentment grows. Power remains untouched. Suffering deepens. Soft morality and the return of barbarism. Nietzsche warned that soft morality, a morality obsessed with comfort and avoidance, does not eliminate barbarism. It relocates it. When strength is forbidden open expression, it re-emerges in distorted forms. Social cruelty, public shaming, moral superiority, passive aggression. Weakness, Nietzsche argued, does not neutralize violence. It invites victimization, not because the weak deserve harm, but because power seeks expression. If it cannot express itself creatively, it expresses itself destructively. Civilization does not end the human drive for conquest. It hides it beneath manners and rules. And what is hidden does not disappear. When a person lives in constant self-restraint, they begin to fracture internally. One part obeys, another part resents. This inner division creates tension, anxiety, and emotional fatigue. The person becomes hypersensitive to criticism, yet unable to assert themselves. They feel powerless, yet morally superior. Nietzsche believed this inner contradiction was one of the great illnesses of modern humanity. Not too much cruelty, but cruelty turned inward. A soul that has learned to kneel eventually forgets how to stand. Nietzsche was not calling for brutality. He was calling for honesty. Honesty about instincts. Honesty about power. Honesty about where kindness comes from. Strength that knows itself does not need to dominate. Weakness that denies itself creates the conditions for domination. Only notice, where have you learned to soften yourself? To be safe? And where might firmness actually bring peace? Civilization refines instinct, but only awareness transforms it. Nietzsche observed that many people learn early on that being agreeable keeps them safe. Approval brings comfort. Disapproval brings pain. Over time, this can shape a personality that avoids conflict at all costs. Someone who smiles when they want to scream, who agrees when they want to refuse, who swallows their instincts to stay accepted. At first, this looks gentle, even virtuous. But Nietzsche noticed something unsettling beneath it. When natural impulses, anger, ambition, desire, strength, are consistently suppressed, they do not disappear. They turn inward. What cannot be expressed openly becomes resentment. Resentment is not explosive. It is slow, dense, and quietly corrosive. And resentment, Nietzsche believed, is one of the deepest sources of cruelty in human behavior. Not the cruelty of predators, but the cruelty of the wounded. Nietzsche had a particular disdain for chronic complaining. Not because suffering is unworthy of compassion, but because of what habitual complaint often conceals. He believed that constant complaining can be a disguised form of aggression. Instead of asserting boundaries, instead of claiming power directly, the complainer attacks indirectly, through guilt, through moral pressure, through emotional manipulation. A complaint says, "I am powerless, and therefore you must change." It places responsibility outward while avoiding the risk of direct confrontation. To Nietzsche, this was not innocence. It was power-seeking by other means, a way of influencing others without appearing strong. And over time, this indirect aggression poisons both the one who complains and those around them. The complainer feels justified, yet remains stuck. The listener feels blamed, yet unclear why. Nothing resolves. Resentment deepens. Nietzsche used the word herd to describe social groups that prioritize conformity over truth. The herd values sameness, safety, belonging. There is comfort in the herd, but there is also a cost. When individuals suppress their instincts to remain acceptable, they internalize the herd's values as their own conscience. Over time, this becomes a kind of inner surveillance. You no longer need external punishment. You punish yourself. You feel guilt for wanting more, shame for standing out, anxiety for disagreeing. Nietzsche believed that this submissiveness creates a population that is outwardly polite, but inwardly tense. The herd rewards obedience, but breeds quiet hostility toward anyone who appears free. This is why difference can provoke aggression, why confidence can trigger mockery, why strength is often reframed as arrogance. The herd protects itself by pulling everyone back down. Nietzsche contrasted the herd with what he called the beast of prey. This was not meant as an insult. The beast of prey represents instinctual vitality, directness, self-trust, the courage to act without seeking permission. In ancient times, the beast of prey was visible. Warriors, explorers, leaders. Today, it shows up as someone who speaks plainly, who says no without apology, who refuses to perform moral weakness for approval. However, when condemned, it leaks out in subtler forms. Passive aggression, online shaming, moral superiority, public outrage disguised as virtue. This is the beast of prey turned inward. Energy meant for creation becomes energy for judgment. Strength denied expression becomes cruelty masked as righteousness. When people suppress their assertive instincts long enough, they often turn those instincts against themselves. This creates inner harshness, a voice that says, "Don't want too much. Don't stand out. Don't upset anyone." Over time, this inner voice becomes cruel. It leaks into relationships, into expectations, into the way people punish each other for being human. Nietzsche believed that submissiveness does not eliminate aggression. It stores it, and stored aggression eventually finds a target. Sometimes others, sometimes the self. This is why excessive self-sacrifice often leads to burnout, bitterness, and emotional numbness. The body knows when it is being denied life. Awareness dissolves cruelty. When you allow yourself to notice what you truly feel without acting on it immediately, something softens. You no longer need to punish yourself for being alive. You no longer need to punish others for reminding you of what you've buried. Consider this gently. What parts have you learned to stay small, to stay safe? And what would it feel like to offer those parts compassion? Instead of control, just noticing and letting go. You do not need to please anyone here. You do not need to justify yourself. You are allowed to rest without earning it.